The activist dilemma. Ada stood before the cracked mirror in her small, dimly lit room. Her hands trembled as she held the brown folder, heavy with damning evidence against Chifokeke. Her breath was shallow. Her heart beat loud in her ears. This was the moment she had been fighting for. The culmination of months spent chasing leads, listening to terrified whispers, and piecing together the corrupt puzzle of the chief's empire. Chief Okeke had bled her town dry, stealing from the people and making promises he never intended to keep. The evidence in her hands would change everything. But now, as Ada stared at the folder, her phone buzzed loudly on the rickety table. She reached for it absent-mindedly, her mind still focused on her mission. The screen showed an unknown number. She hesitated, then answered. A cold voice filled the ear. If you care about your family, Ada, you will stop now. Ada froze. Her blood turned to ice. Who is this? The voice chuckled, low and menacing. Your father likes to go for morning walks, doesn't he? It'd be a shame if he didn't come home one day. Her throat tightened. She gripped the phone, her knuckles white. What do you want? Her voice was barely a whisper. Simple. Drop the case. Burn that file, and your family stays safe. Cross us, and they suffer. You have until tomorrow. The line went dead. Ada stood there numb as the phone slipped from her hand and clattered onto the floor. She clutched the folder against her chest, her mind spinning. They knew. They had been watching. Her father's face flashed before her eyes, his kind smile, his gentle laugh as they ate dinner the night before. She sank into the wooden chair beside the table, the weight of the choice pressing down on her. Her whole life had been about fighting for justice. She had promised herself she would be the voice of the oppressed, the one to finally bring down powerful men like Chifokeke. But at what cost? Could she risk her father's life for the truth? Night fell, but Ada couldn't sleep. Her mentor, Ngozi, had warned her. Fighting for corruption comes at a price, Ada. You have to be ready to pay it. But Ngozi hadn't said it might cost her family. Ada had always imagined herself fearless, willing to sacrifice anything. Now, standing on the edge of that decision, she realized how fragile she felt. The next morning, Ada met with Chifokeke's associate in a secluded spot behind an old abandoned warehouse. Before we continue, remember you can always place ads on this channel, and we can also help you create engaging and creatively customized ads and materials to showcase your products or services. Send us a DM now. The man's smile was oily as he slid a briefcase towards her. Take this and walk away. No one will know what you found, and your family will remain unharmed. Ada stared at the briefcase. She could feel the weight of the blood money inside without even touching it. Her heart screamed for her to take it, to protect her family and leave this fight behind. But her conscience wouldn't let her. I'm not for sale, she said, her voice shaking but firm. The associate's smile vanished. His eyebrows narrowed. You regret this? As he disappeared into the shadows, Ada felt a sense of doom settle over her. She returned home, the folder still clutched in her arms, unsure of her next move. That night, the nightmare became real. A loud crash shattered the silence. Ada leaped from her bed, rushing to the living room. The door had been forced open, and her house had been ransacked. Papers were scattered, drawers overturned, and the folder with the evidence gone. Her father burst into the room, eyes wide with fear. Ada, are you okay? She could barely answer. Her entire world had crumbled in a single night. The enemy wasn't just Chifokeke. It was everyone who stood to benefit from his corruption. As she stood amidst the wreckage, a single note lay on the floor, scribbled in rush handwriting. This is only the beginning. Ada's heart pounded. The battle had just begun, and now it wasn't just her future on the line, it was her family's life. What would you do if you were Ada? Could you risk everything for justice? Or would you protect those you love at all costs? Share your thoughts on Ada's choice and stay tuned to find out what happens next in the activist's dilemma. Don't forget to hit the plus button, like, and follow us for more.